should be good.
Good evening and welcome to the December 6, 2021 Shakopee Public Utilities Commission meeting. This meeting is being held at the SPU Service Center, and we ask that all participants mute your devices at this time. The public is welcome, and we have an open time slot for the public to address the commission. Ms. Nelson, will you please call the roll?
President Mokel.
Here.
Vice President Fox.
Here.
Commissioner Brennan.
Here.
Commissioner Krieg.
Here.
Commissioner Letourneau.
Here.
All five commissioners are present.
Great, thank you. Moving on to item 2, which is communications. Do any of the commissioners have anything they received or heard that they want to share with the commission? All right, seeing none. We'll move on to item 3, which is our consent agenda. Do any of the commissioners want to pull any consent items? Ms. Brennan?
3I
Okay.
and 3K.
Okay. So we have 3I and 3K. Are there any others? Okay, then I will take a motion to accept the consent agenda as amended.
Motion to accept the agenda as amended.
And a second.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion passes. So we'll first start with 3I. Ms. Brennan.
Yep, I took it off. I had a couple of questions. I compared it, the 22 fee schedule to the 21 fee schedule. And I had a question on the hydrant charge. It was, last year it was $25, and this year it's $100. So I'm wondering why it's gone up 75%.
Yeah, and,
Yep, go ahead, Mr.
I will ask Lon Schemmel to come up and talk about those fees that are there. This is a recommendation from our water department, and it is based on, I believe, on some of the sizing and what the meters cost if they get damaged. So go ahead,
Right.
Mr. Schemmel.
Right, we've looked at what we charge for meter inspections and things for years and the meter fees, and a hydrant meter setup is over $3,000. And quite often they get damaged, or we've never lost one completely, but, and we started looking at surrounding communities and what they charge, and our fees were woefully low. So we tried to simplify it in one way and then make it a little more cold to contractors, I guess, to be a little more accountable for the condition of our hydrant meters. Does that help at all?
Yep, I'm curious to know how how many are charged, do you know, that fee, and how it will impact them?
No, not offhand, I don't. We've got, at any given time, we've probably got 20 hydrant meters out. So we're trying to, recoup our costs a little better on that.
Okay. It just seems like a large increase, and I'm wondering if we can lower that by,
I think it's a little bit, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if the commission would like to lower that a little bit, we can look at that and give more of a definite on what all those fees cost. But, we do from time to time, do check these out on a regular basis. And really it is truck time to get these things out and make sure that we got that. So we will take a recommendation if we've escalated fees over time, as you can see later on in our rate study with Dave Berg. Sometimes we do go from time to time. So would like $50 be more of an appropriate amount from 25, and then over the next couple of years have that incremental increase?
personally, I would like to see an incremental increase. I just think 75% is going to be pretty difficult to tolerate for some people, and then difficult to explain why there's such a large increase.
Yeah, and we can, if you approve that, I think our due diligence, we can show you what our surrounding communities charge at a later meeting and have a little more documentation behind that, so you can see that we're not super out of line at that $100 eventually, but I think that's appropriate to get those numbers back to you. So if you would approve that to the modification of that, then we will bring back more information to you at a future meeting.
Okay, I have one more question. It was on the lighting, street lighting charges to the developer, and what's the basis for the increase in that area? And
Yep, Mr. Adams will take that, so.
So the increase is across the board on these installations that we charge developers for new residential lights of 5% for inflation, both in the labor expense to install and in the material costs. Being that we had lost our project engineer a year ago, he had been keeping a spreadsheet up on that. We did not have success in locating that to update it with the new labor rate, but we did see that the labor rate was going up, and we have been experiencing increased costs in materials. So we thought a 5% across the board increase was appropriate to cover our costs for those.
Okay. Are you okay with that one, Jody? Okay, so Jody made a motion to go to $50 for, say that again, was that the hydrant?
fee.
Yeah, the hydrant fee. Can I get a second on that? Is there consensus?
I'll second it.
Mr. All right, so a motion and a second to increase it to $50. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Is that all for aye then, Jody?
Yep,
Okay.
so I'd like to make a motion to accept the modified 2022 fee schedule.
All right, I have a motion and a second.
Second?
All right, motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we will move on to 3K.
I brought 3K forward. I would like to have the commission consider having an audit completed yearly as part of the audit process on the P cards and to make sure that they're being used appropriately.
So just an addition to this policy then for the audit? I can understand that.
I think it's a great idea.
Yep. All right. So Jody made a motion to add an audit to the 3K consent item. Can I get a second? Oh,
Can I ask just
Sure.
a question? And Jean might be, did you want, as part of our audit process that we're using a firm to audit, also audit this? Is that what you were thinking on this? Is I just want a clarification that,
Yeah, I think so.
so Jean, I think we'll have to amend that agreement then to include that in on this.
Right, what we'll have to do is we'll have an agreed upon procedure. Since you are honing in on a specific item, it'll be an agreed upon procedure, and they'll have to provide us a quote for the additional service there.
All right,
okay.
sounds good, thank you.
All right. Can I get a second to that?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes for 3K. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. And moving on to number 4, the liaison report. Commissioner Brennan?
I don't have much to talk about that's happened in the past. Tomorrow is, we'll be discussing and have an open hearing, public hearing on the budget and the tax levy. So just to let everybody know that, if you want to listen in and participate and have any questions, please show up. We meet 7 o'clock in the City Hall.
Good information. All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to item number 5, which is our public comment period. The public comment period provides an opportunity for the public to address the commission on items that are not on the agenda. Comments should not exceed 5 minutes. The SBU president may adjust the time limit based upon the number of persons seeking to comment. This comment period may not be used to make personal attacks, to air personality grievances, or for political endorsements or campaigns. The public comments are intended for informational purposes only. Commissioners will not enter into a dialogue with commenters, and questions from the commissioners will be for clarification only. If any public are present, please step up to the table and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we will move on to number 6, which is our general manager report. Mr. Drent.
Thank you, Madam President. Commissioners, we've been working diligently, as you can see by the packet, to get this packet out. So it's been a busy last week and a half to make sure that we got everything organized in that. We did finalize the pilot meeting discussions, which will part of the agenda today. So super excited about that. Service territory update has been ongoing. We've had several meetings on that. We have County Road 83 agreement on this agenda as well. We did have an IT supervisor position that we interviewed for. Budget's been going good. Para-deferred comp and healthcare savings plan, that project is going well, and just kind of updating some of our benefits that we offer. We did have our software presentations and review process. We narrowed it down to 2, and we're gonna go visit some communities that have these 2 softwares, fairly local, that have the software, so we can get a better understanding, just to make sure we're making the right decision. We think this is a key thing that we're gonna be doing over the next year, and we wanna make sure we have everything in order for that. So we're gonna take one more step and review some people that have that, what they like and what they don't like on that. You know, we've been working on the EV vehicle stuff, and we got some rate stuff that's been going good with rate design. I did meet with MMUA as a new president, Carlene Koss, CEO. I met with her. She came in, was able to give her a tour of the facility and just talk about how, you know, what we can do with MMUA, what they can help us serve us better. We use them for a lot of things, and so it was a nice meet and greet, and we were able to talk about where things are going there. Did want to also talk about some lead time on materials. Commissioner Brennan had asked me to talk about this. Material lead time is, some things everything's out longer. Some things like water meters is very difficult to get, and it's more the earth on top of the water meters. We can get water meters, but we kind of need the touchpad to read them. We try and go away from that. We've had some meters ordered since July that we still, and now they're not even giving us a date on when they can get here. So we did call a couple other communities and ask if they had some extra ones and stuff like that. But it's not that they can't have service. There's a way to have service. It's just how we read the meters coming in. And speaking of that, we did have a meeting on our AMI project, and they said that meter lead times for big projects like that, where we order 18,000 electric and 12,000 water, is a little over a year now for lead time on some of those materials. So one thing that we did internally about, Joe, what was that, about 2 months ago, we looked at our projects that we've had in the last year. We've got most of the stuff already ordered. We actually doubled our order. So we wanted to make sure that we had enough leeway there for future projects. So even though lead times are longer, we do have doubled the amount. Normally we use stuff. We already had that stuff ordered. We had our purchasing and go back, look at that, and we actually did a double order of stuff this next year. So we hope we're on top of it that way. The only thing that we're really getting squeezed on right now is that electric meters, and it's the same wiring, it just needs the touchpad. So our meter readers may have to go up to a few of them and use the touchpad to get the reading versus just the current system that we use a drive-by in all new developments. So other than that, that's where lead times are. We're definitely staying on top of it. We have regular meetings on it, and like transformers, I've been seeing a few come in, and we've been getting some extra transformers on hand, just because we understand lead times are getting longer. I asked Joe actually just today to set up a meeting with city staff. I think that it was time for us as staff to get together, working on projects, what we're going to work on next year, some street lighting, different things like that. So we'll be requesting that meeting coming up here. And then I met with Mr. Reynolds and Chelsea Peterson on the service territory, and we also discussed the next joint meeting that we're going to have. So you'll see some after the holidays. You'll see some emails on that. We're hoping in February or March to have another joint meeting with the two bodies to get together after we get the pilot discussion and some of the things that we're working on together, and then have another joint meeting. So with that, I will stand for questions.
All right, any questions for Mr. Durant?
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Moving on to number 7, which is our water items, the Water Systems Operation Report. Mr. Schemmel.
Thank you very much. An update on tank number 8. Greg had mentioned, supplies are getting kind of strange, and we'd been having problems getting a small amount of concrete for the floor that goes inside the tank, because we had 35 feet in diameter, about 4 inches thick, and The vendors wanted, larger pours or something like that, so we finally got it lined up. Last Wednesday, we got the floor in. They did heat the cone of the tank, the base, so that the concrete cured at the right temperature, so that looks pretty good. But, that is going to push back everything else that goes on. So tomorrow morning, we should get the electric turned on. There's going to be an inspection at 11 a.m., and that'll start things going forward for, the filling. But that's still probably going to push substantial completion back towards the third week of February, maybe the end, which, which is still, I think, in the middle of the winter, we don't need a lot of storage, which is, the time's on our side, but we'll get that done. We did get our PFAS results last Thursday. Good news, we're well below any health-based value and well below any health risk index. The interesting news is it was in all of the wells. So very low detection limits. We're going to ask the Department of Health for their availability. They're offering to speak to different communities on this, on what they're finding. And we'd like them to make themselves available to the commission, probably the first or second meeting in January, whatever they're available for. They're going to put all of the state's results on their website either the end of this month or early January. So they're going to have a PFAS database. And I think they've sampled like 90% of the community water in the state. So at our well houses, we've finished our winterization, and now we start into our winter projects. When it gets colder and drier and the pipes stop sweating, we can do our touch-up painting on the pipes and stuff like that, and other chemical line replacements and things like that. That's what I have for a report this evening, if there are any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Schimmel? Yes, Mr. Brown.
And just so you're aware, that we will have that, the report to the commission at the next meeting as well. So we're going to ask them, but we will actually have the report, so you'll get all the numbers. We just got the numbers. We just wanted you to know that we did get them. We are working on them. We're evaluating them, but we will get you a full copy of that report in our next packet.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll move on to 7B, which is the County Road 83 bids and agreement amendment. Mr. Adams.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. Scott County recently opened bids, the new bids for the County Road 83 Recon project that includes water main improvements. And happy to report the bid prices or the apparent low bidder price was approximately 19% below the engineer's estimate for the overall project. And the water main work was also under the engineer's estimate. So originally, we were planning to replace the entire water main in this project area, approximately 5,000 feet along County Road 83. But as you recall, the bids came in last year quite high, and there was bid anomalies with the water main specifically. So we appreciated that the commissioners that spoke to county board members and our discussions between our staff and their staff, that the bids were rejected and the project was rebid, and now we have a better bid environment. We did also scale back the amount of water main work, so now we're not replacing the entirety of the water main, but we are replacing sections of it and upsizing some of the pipes that are connected to it for other water mains or service lines, so that in the future we'd be able to replace this water main, but in reality the pipe is less than 50 years old and really is not in need of replacement. And by doing some of these things that we're calling future-proofing, we should avoid ever having to dig up the new concrete road surface. And then when we do replace the main, we would minimize the areas we would have to dig up to repair, to shift the water main into a new location when it truly is aged out. But at this point, the county has redrafted the amendment that Spuck's attorney had originally drafted to the agreement to reflect the change in scope and the new costs. And the county board has already approved the staff, county officials to execute this amendment once it's finalized. I'm waiting for a final version. You can see the markup the changes that the county attorney had made to date, but they were, had not yet received the final product, so apologize for that, but the county board had approved it subject to their attorney and staff review, and we're asking the commission to do the same at this point to keep this moving along, since they will be looking to award this project before the end of the month at the next county board meeting. So right now, the way things stand is our construction costs are a little under $900,000 at $854,000, plus some engineering and inspection costs that we have anticipated. And in our CIP budget for 2022, we have $1,080,000. So this is all considerably less than the bid earlier last year, which was going to be about $2.2 million for water main work. So we are recommending that you authorize the execution of the amendment once the final terms are agreed to by the attorneys and staff. Any questions?
Are there any questions for Mr. Adams?